The Extra Point with Ryan Justice is brought to you by the Phone Medic. For the best in cell phone or tablet repairs, the Phone Medic is the only choice for you. The Phone Medic also offers gaming PCs, laptops, and consoles for both gamers and everyday users. Visit one of the Phone Medic locations in Amarillo or Canyon today. And by Macaulay Made. Whether you're looking for a custom cap as the perfect gift or to represent your small business with a high-quality hat, Bobby Macaulay has you covered. Wear what Ryan and Andy wear. Wear something that's Macaulay Made. The official cap of The Extra Point. The Extra Point is also brought to you by the Amarillo Magic Company. The Amarillo Magic Company is dedicated to bringing amazing magic and illusions to your parties, events, or corporate functions, featuring the amazingly talented Kyle Groves. Make your event or party magical and reach out to the Amarillo Magic Company today.
Hello, football fans. Welcome to The Extra Point with Ryan Justice.
Difficulties there, everybody. Welcome to the Extra Point Live. It is rowdy here in R&R in Amarillo. We have a Super Bowl champion, Tyler. The Seattle Seahawks have won Super Bowl 60 in a dominant performance over the New England Patriots and Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP. What are your initial thoughts on the Super Bowl right now?
It was the day of the dark side defense because, 2 fumbles, 1 interception, multiple sacks on Drake May. Seattle's defense really ruled the day here. Kenneth Walker was just the icing on the cake. He was gaining yards left and right. He didn't score, but he didn't need to.
No.
And, it was Seattle's day. Sam Darnold didn't need to be a hero, but, it's one of those old cliches, like just team effort.
Yeah.
Complete team effort from Seattle.
I hope you guys can hear us. It is rocking here in R&R in Amarillo. We have had a great time here at the Super Bowl party here at R&R Bar in Amarillo. We gave away an iPad earlier. Had a lot of fun here watching the game. My quick thoughts on this right now is that, I kind of expected this from the Seattle defense. I kind of expected the Seattle defense to really exploit the weakness of that offensive line on the Patriots, especially that left side of the offensive line with Will Campbell. Drake May, by the time they were kind of winding it down on the fourth quarter, 6 sacks. He had the fumbles. He had the turnovers. We said that was going to be one of the things that we really had to watch for this game for the New England Patriots was Sam Darnold being efficient with the football and Drake May being able to handle the pressure. Both teams brought a ton of pressure. Sam Darnold, if you look at the stats on the box score, he didn't really have a great game. He was barely over 50%. Like, the Patriots were giving him plenty of trouble, but it was the ability of this dark side defense for the Seattle Seahawks to really shut down the Patriots and really just make Drake May human, even though this postseason he has not been playing well at all. But, the Seahawks really, really honed in on shutting down Drake May.
Oh, yeah. Like, defense was the name of the game to really start things off. And, it was a war of attrition. And Seattle won that war of attrition by just continuing to pressure Drake May. Now, I will not say that the Patriots were slouches in this instance because they did pressure Sam Darnold. But it comes down to who makes the most mistakes. And unfortunately, just Drake May's youth kind of popped up tonight while Sam Darnold's experience and seeing ghosts, well, he ain't seeing ghosts no more.
No, he's seeing championship rings.
He's seeing money.
And, we'll keep going on through the Super Bowl as we go on. Getting into this week, we do have hot topics to get into. And starting off on hot topics, we have some rumors coming out. Tua and Kyler, we've said this kind of leading into the offseason, But it came out today that, more and more momentum is building for both Tua and Kyler Murray to be moved from the Cardinals and the Dolphins. I guess the quick thoughts are, I always thought a swap for them might work out. I thought Tua might do well going to maybe Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson. I felt like he would fit in well. I mean, I'm not sure about anyone wanting to have Nathaniel Hackett call plays for them. But I felt like Tua could end up. Yeah, we had a big rant on that last week. But I felt like Tua and the way that he plays might mesh well with Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
But I mean, Kyler needs a place where he can go and kind of run free a little bit. Where are you thinking that they might end up?
I would, Kyler in Miami would be interesting, but that's such a stacked AFC East. And that's what I'd be worried about if I'm Kyler. Or, if I was running for my life in the NFC West, I'm definitely running for my life in the AFC East. So Kyler has to go to a team that is just missing maybe a few pieces. I would say Minnesota needs to be in the game.
Yeah.
Minnesota just lacks a quarterback. They really need to push JJ McCarthy. They have brought in some quarterbacks to kind of they're thinking about bringing back Kirk Cousins with a little bit of a reunion, but I feel like Kyler Murray in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson could be very interesting. Maybe even Tua could fit well in the purple and gold, but maybe Tua coming west might not. Well, one thing's for sure, Ryan. These guys need a change of scenery. That's the biggest takeaway I got.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think you definitely a different uniform. Definitely going to have to be a team that can absorb their contracts. They do carry some pretty heavy contracts, but that's one we'll keep an eye on in the offseason as we get it going. Of course, Super Bowl 60 in the books. Now all eyes turn to the offseason and free agency. Free agency gets started in less than a month or just over a month. And then we're right into the draft and OTAs, and we're starting this whole thing all over again. Next up on Hot Topics, just real quick here. This came down today. The Dallas Cowboys using the franchise tag on George Pickens as they go through the contract negotiations. I kind of felt like this was coming. I mean, I get why some guys might be upset with using the franchise tag, but it is a fully guaranteed contract. Especially if they don't want to be there. Pickens wants to be there, but he wants to be paid. I don't think he's going to be complaining about a fully guaranteed contract.
Right. Well, Jerry Jones has been known to play hardball with even superstar players. He loves to use that franchise tag so much, almost to the detriment of like superstar players. But I do feel like, George Pickens would be willing to play ball because if he wants to be in Dallas, he'll make every effort to stay in Dallas, to play alongside Dak Prescott, play alongside some good playmakers, because Dallas is really not a bad team. Again, just like anybody else, they just need a few pieces to make it work.
Yeah, and sorry, I was looking up for our next topic. Yeah. But yeah, like I would imagine they definitely want to keep him there. They want to keep the money right. They're running into the same problem that they ran into going into this past off season. You have all these guys. How are you going to pay them? How are you going to kind of keep everyone on the roster and still stay under the salary cap, which it's going up to above $300 million next year. Yeah. So that's going to end up being huge. I imagine that's going to have some relief for some teams that are, especially a team that is way over the salary cap. I believe Dallas is pretty far over it. So they'll be able to help figure that out. Real quick, guys, forgot to do this at the top. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. Hit that like, share, or subscribe button. Get notified, especially as we go into next season. You can watch past episodes of The Extra Point. You can see my wrestling on there if you're on YouTube. But definitely hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We want to hear from you guys in the chat. We love the interaction coming on. So we've been kind of covering this little bit of a controversial topic over the last couple of weeks, and that is the Hall of Fame. Oh, yeah. We officially, at the NFL Honors, got new Hall of Famers, and those Hall of Famers are Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, and then the Roger Craig as the seniors nominee. Are you happy with this Hall of Fame class?
I'm happy with it. Well, one, Adam Vinatieri, Rapid City Central alum. going from, a very pedestrian career at South Dakota State to being a Hall of Famer, that's huge. And his reaction was very heartwarming. That's how much it means to these players. Larry Legend, we knew he was a future Hall of Famer. Luke Kuechly, another future Hall of Famer. Drew Brees. I'm surprised that the Chargers didn't also celebrate that, but but Brees is more so known as a Saint than a Charger. So, kudos to Drew Brees. He had his best years with New Orleans, including his Super Bowl championship year. I'm happy with it. And Roger Craig, it was a matter of time. That man was a demolition machine when he was in the secondary for San Francisco. Roger Craig was in the backfield for San Francisco. I got him messed up with Ronnie Lott. Sorry. I love Ronnie Lott too. Those guys were so good in Tecmo Super Bowl. So, I mean, they were unstoppable along with Bo Jackson.
Yeah, no, like I'm happy with this class. Drew Brees, awesome, awesome quarterback, awesome person. Larry Fitzgerald, I feel like he's probably the best receiver to not have a Super Bowl to go into this class.
Yeah.
Of course, Luke Kuechly, I don't think a lot of people really remember. A lot of people remember him for the injuries, but I think, that kind of overshadows
the smartest linebackers in the game.
That overshadows just what kind of force he was on the defensive side of the ball. But yeah, I'm happy with this Hall of Fame class, new Hall of Famers that going in. So, but now we get back to the game itself. This is our game reactions to the Super Bowl. Of course, the Patriots. I'll fix that score real quick. We're kind of doing this in real time. This is our first live on location here for the Extra Point. But yeah, the Seahawks 29-13 with the Patriots. Looked like it could have gotten a little close with that Drake May touchdown in the fourth quarter, which was a beautiful pass. And that's, I think, I kind of saw that and was sitting there going, man, here we go. Like, it's still within reach for them. They have to get the ball back, get a stop on Seattle, which, aside from Kenneth Walker finally getting the run game going, which we said would be a pivotal moment in getting this going and getting this to a win for Seattle. Aside from getting that going, they had to get a stop with the defense, and they did. And they just, again, like it had been the whole game, they failed to answer.
Right. And yeah, when Drake May dropped that dime to Hollins for the touchdown, I was like, all they really need to do is just make a stop, and they're in this game.
Yep.
And they made the stop. However, it felt like the wheels fell apart for New England. You had an interception right afterwards. Love with the interception, and then like Seattle didn't really completely take advantage of that. But what really broke New England's back was the scoop and score. The gentleman's name eludes me, but he has a cool name. Nuwasu.
Yeah.
Nuwasu scooped it up. I mean, to me, that's the moment of the Super Bowl. But Kenneth Walker also kind of helped finish off New England for Seattle as well. I mean, he made things happen with his legs.
That first big run in the second quarter, I hit up my group chat and I said, this team's about to break. Like the Seattle Seahawks are about to break the Patriots, because that's been one of the things that the Patriots had done consistently going into this playoffs, getting them to the Super Bowl, was they were shutting down the run very consistently. Then there was not very many teams that were able to run on the Patriots all throughout the playoffs. And that was one of the things that I said on Wednesday was, if they can get the run game going on this Patriots team, if they can get the run game going and get Kenneth Walker going, the Seahawks might waltz into a Super Bowl. And that's exactly what they did. And the Patriots, give them credit, they stopped them for as long as they could. They stopped them. They held up, again, for about a quarter and a half. There wasn't really much getting going with Kenneth Walker. He had two big runs, and the Patriots began to shut it down again. But it's like they said, once they realized they had to bring a safety up to stop the run, that was leaving some of the other guys open. Darnold wasn't quite taking advantage of it the way we thought he should have, but he was doing it enough to where they were dropping back, and that's when Walker really finally broke it and really started just getting those long runs.
Right, and I felt like Darnold kind of found that when he found A.J. Barner completely alone in the end zone. That if you can make New England respect the run, then you can burn them with the long pass. Another thing I noticed with Seattle as well is, or actually, I'm sorry, I don't want to sell New England short, Ryan.
No.
Christian Gonzalez was all over the place, man. He left it all on the field, just to put it in, very football specific terms. That guy, he was making leaps, he was making tackles, he was trying to make stops. He was everywhere and anywhere. It was just, man, as much as, and you could tell towards the end of the game, Gonzalez was devastated, because he gave it everything, and it just wasn't enough because just New England, and I think we talked about this during the game, was they have playmakers. They just don't have enough playmakers.
And speaking of playmakers, again, we'll touch on this a little bit later on. Speaking of the playmakers, Stephon Diggs was nowhere to be found. He was not, he was very much locked out of this game. I think he saw a catch for him at the very end of the game, but he, when they were way backed up in their own territory, but Stephon Diggs was not there. Stephon Diggs was not in this game at all. And don't get me wrong, Jackson Smith and Jigba wasn't really a factor in the game either. Like I said, Barner was way more of a factor in this game for Seattle than Jackson Smith and Jigba was. So the Patriots did do a really good job of shutting him down, but I think a lot of the focus was on Diggs. You didn't really see Stevenson or Henderson get going, and a lot of it was because they were just getting so much pressure on Drake May off of that left side from Will Campbell, from the two rookies on that left side, and were just flooring. I mean, it was immediate pressure in Drake May's face.
They were punishing New England's offensive line all throughout the game. I mean, you got to feel really bad for Will Campbell. Immense pressure on you, especially in football's biggest stage. And I mean, as hard as you try, you can't stop Seattle. It was the dark side's day, and that's in great defenses win championships.
There's one of my best friends. Any favorite moments from the game? What's your overall rating of the Super Bowl on 1 to 10 scale? I'd give it a 6. I give it a solid 6. We kind of expected this defensive struggle. I felt like that first touchdown pass to Darnold that really broke the game open. That scheme, I looked at you and I said, that's money for Clint Kubiak.
Yeah.
Because the Raiders are sitting there cheering that on as well, with him being expected to be named the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. They saw that and immediately said, that's our guy. So I felt like that was a huge moment in this game for Seattle, was getting that first touchdown. It was 4 straight field goals from Jason Myers, who I really felt like if no one else is going to win the MVP outside of Kenneth Walker finally breaking those runs, probably should have been Jason Myers with all the kicks he was landing. But eventually Darnold gets that touchdown pass to Barner and breaks open the dam against the New England Patriots. But I feel like, again, it's like you said, the story of this game was the dark side defense, was how this defense was called. DeMarcus Lawrence up front, Witherspoon, Emmanuel, Amenawari, and I mean, just all those guys making up what Seattle has been, like I've said, going in the previews of this, just a steady hand. And that's what they were. They were steady this entire game. They didn't bend to anything that the Patriots were throwing at them. They kept it level water. Even if the offense was getting down there and not really scoring, they didn't budge.
Yeah, and I'm so thankful for a wrong pick for once. Usually, like when I pick the Patriots, they do lose. So, and I'm fine with that. I mean, as a Broncos fan, and certainly Ryan is a Texans fan. I feel like the big moment for me was that scoop and score, because when New England scored that first touchdown, I was like, they're still in this. They could still drive down the field. They could still make things happen. It was Drake May time. Drake May. I know it's a meme. But the scoop and score, I felt like that finally broke the Patriots back and really sealed it for Seattle. So, and that's another product of the dark side defense.
So I guess, the question that we got to answer with this is like, where does each team go from here? We were kind of talking about this as the game was going on. Where do the Patriots go from here? Where does Seattle go from here? I don't believe Seattle's in danger of having this team really broken up by free agency or anything like that. Neither are the Patriots. But I think for me, we'll start with the Patriots. I think you got to find a way to get Drake May holding onto the ball. Yeah. He had the most fumbles this season for any quarterback. I know you're talking about Darnold having some of the most turnovers being up there as well, but Drake May, when he gets hit, especially, I know a lot of it had to do with the lack of protection that he had from that offensive line. Yeah. But Drake May getting hit and not holding on to that football has been a huge issue for this Patriots team. You got to fix that first. And I think you got to go out and you got to find another playmaker to go alongside Stephon Diggs that can be – so that way the entire passing game isn't cut off.
And I feel like the Patriots are playing with house money. They were just – it's like, hey, we want to win, but we're happy to be here at the same time. I feel like – and I'll flip it over to Seattle because I think Seattle, they won't lose a ton. They won't lose a lot. They're going to keep that defense. How much better is that defense going to be next year if they can keep everybody intact? They can keep Sam Darnold steady. If they can continue to develop Kenneth Walker and Jackson Smith and Jimma, I feel like Seattle could be very scary next year, and I would say early contenders for a back-to-back. It could be like the modern-day equivalent of the Dallas Cowboys versus the Buffalo Bills. We could see them play each other at least, like at least twice over the next twice over the next 3 years. I feel
one of our co-hosts also. If I'm a New England defensive player, I can't look at the offensive coaching staff. I can't either. I mean, you look at Josh McDaniels, and he had been good throughout this season, but this entire playoffs, don't get me wrong. Yes, he had been going up against some of the top defenses in the league, but we had mentioned this as well. Adverse conditions, really strong handicaps on the offense when you talk about the Chargers and what they did with their offensive line and the injury issues they were facing with that. The Texans and C.J. Stroud just kind of very much folding under the spotlight in both of the playoff games that he was in with his turnover issues. Denver with the weather and Jarrett Stidham. And then Seattle was also on another level, but New England had faced a lot of the top defenses going into this, and now they come into a game where it's fair weather, it's a neutral ground, neutral playing field, and they got put in their place. Like that, I can't put it any more simply. They got put in their place in this game.
Also, another interesting fact is it's only the second trip west of the Mississippi River for New England. So, unfamiliar elements as well. I mean, granted, the weather was beautiful in Santa Clara. I would have loved to go outside and play football in that kind of weather. But yeah, like if you said, hey, neutral site, perfect conditions, yeah, like you'd have to give the advantage to Seattle. I was thinking, maybe the Patriots would pull the rabbit out of their hat like they usually do. But again, I'm glad to say that I was wrong. Like Seattle really played a flawless game. They didn't commit too many mistakes. That's what football's all about. If you can play a clean game, you can keep no matter who it is. Like you and I could sit in that backfield. As long as we're nice and clean in that pocket, we're not going to make mistakes and we're not going to be rattled. Although I will say Drake May was not rattled, even though like he could have been real easily. But and the same could have went for Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold could have easily folded, just like he did in years past. But I feel like he's matured enough and got to that point where it's like, okay, all right, I've been through all this, and this is nothing to me now.
And that's one thing you got to really credit to that Patriots defense. Sam Darnold faced a career-high pressure percentage in this game. I mean, at one point, he was at 70% pressure rate in this game. And credit to him for not letting it get to him. He was able to stand in the pocket and deliver some great throws. There was one he delivered where he just stood there and took a hit. I mean, he took a huge hit. as he delivered a throw in the pocket. So the Patriots were coming after him. I just felt like that was the real tale of this game. If one of the many in this was how well each quarterback was able to handle the pressure. And having a guy like Kenneth Walker do what he did helps you handle that pressure immensely. So we're going to take a quick break real quick. We'll come back with our final 3 up and 3 down of the season, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in to the Extra Point live from R&R Bar in Amarillo. Shout out to the Phone Medic of Amarillo for doing our raffle tonight. Here we go. Here's how you can help. Go see them.
The Extra Point with Ryan Justice is brought to you by the Phone Medic. For the best in cell phone or tablet repairs, the Phone Medic is the only choice for you. The Phone Medic also offers gaming PCs, laptops, and consoles for both gamers and everyday users. Visit one of the Phone Medic locations in Amarillo or Canyon today.
Definitely go check out Gabe and the Phone Medic. Say hi to Gabe and Andrew. Tell them Ryan said hi. And if you need any cell phone or laptop repairs, if you're needing a new gaming laptop, they have a bunch of tech there for you guys to go check out and see. But go check out the Phone Medic of Amarillo. So for the last time this season, we've done a lot of them. 3 up, 3 down, Super Bowl finale edition coming to you right now live from R&R and their Super Bowl party. We had some good food.
The queso was
amazing. Queso had deer in it.
Yeah.
The queso had deer in it. There's beer pong, pool, lots of good times, guys. If y'all are ever in Amarillo, go visit the R&R bar. I hope you guys can hear me all right. Let me know in the chat if we're coming through okay. But yeah, the queso was great. The tacos were great. Of course, drinks are always great. But and of course you had the Super Bowl on. But first up on the up list, and this is one that probably need to address. I know he was Super Bowl MVP, and he's getting the first up on the up list. Kenneth Walker, man, he was the guy that really became the battering ram to break things open against the Patriots.
He was the dynamo that made the Seahawks go. And, it shows you that you don't have to score a ton of touchdowns to become MVP. All you got to do is just gain positive yardage, keep the negative plays down to a bare minimum and, grind away at the Patriots. And Kenneth Walker did just that. As much as you and I were like, wish for that holding call to be negated and for Kenneth Walker to get that like glorious moment to where it's like, hey, he is the MVP for good. Like he is the legit MVP, getting that late touchdown or not, it was well-deserved, so congratulations to Kenneth Walker, man. He's very good.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now, and if he'd have gotten that, I believe it would have put him over 200 yards. It would have put him over 200 yards on the game if he would have gotten that touchdown. Which that, like I said, if he'd have scored that touchdown, I felt like he'd already sealed the MVP to begin with. But I'm looking up the Patriots rushing stats right now, and I believe that is the most they've allowed this season. I'm looking at what they've averaged here in terms of rushing. I know they were up there, but yeah, they were fourth in rushing per game, and Seattle got off, I believe Kendall 135 yards, 141 total for the Seahawks, and this was just one of those things where I believe they wore them down. It's like you said earlier, we were talking war of attrition. Yeah. They grinded it out. They were more physical up front. They were able to get a lot more push on that offensive line than New England was. We noted that the center guard right up front, whenever they were trying to run Stevenson or Henderson, just was not getting anything against Seattle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like it's just, if you can establish the run game, that opens up the play action. It opens up the receivers. It makes the defense creep down just a little bit for any quarterback to punish a defense. And Seattle did just that. And they have their guy in Kenneth Walker. Wouldn't you say that Marshawn Lynch is very proud of this moment?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think one thing this ought to very much answer for the Seahawks, because I know one of the things that they were doing that frustrated the out of me throughout the season was going back and forth between Walker and Charbonnet and being very indecisive on the run. When Charbonnet went down, of course, it was Kenneth Walker, full steam ahead. This should cement him as the number one guy, a la Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're a Super Bowl MVP. You shouldn't be playing backseat to anybody else anymore.
No more special situations for Kenneth Walker for your Super Bowl MVP. Next up on the up list, of course, Jason Myers. He scored the first 12 points of the game, had some really good field goals. We thought it was going to be him in just a field goal game the whole way through. But, of course, Sam Darnold breaks it open, and then defense comes through. But they aren't dominating this game on the scoreboard if they didn't have Jason Myers.
For a second, I thought we were going to have our first shutout in Super Bowl history, and Jason Myers is going to be like Super Bowl MVP with like at least 12, 15 points to his name. But Jason Myers, yes, Seattle struggled in the red zone. However, Myers helped set the tone, and without those 12 points from Myers, we're talking about a different game between the Seahawks and the Patriots here. So, I mean, and then also you got to give credit to the punter as well. He was putting the Patriots in coffin corners throughout the game, and just the Seattle special teams. I think, hats off to the Seattle special teams. They really showed up tonight alongside Jason Myers.
Yeah, I mean, the field position that the Patriots were in was just awful almost every drive. And they could not get out of the shadow of their own end zone quite a bit. I very rarely saw them move it past the 50 unless it was a big play. So a lot of that had to do with the special teams. Final top of the mountain of the year, of course, I'm sure everyone who watched the game knows where this is going to go. The dark side defense of the Seattle Seahawks, another named defense for this team. They showed up, man. They showed up and just, again, completely shut down. They did what all these teams, defensively were going to do in the playoffs to the Patriots. They just weren't able to capitalize on New England's mistakes. Seattle did that, and they made them pay for it big time.
Oh, man. This is the latest in a long line of named defenses. The Doomsday defense, the no-name defense, the Steel Curtain, the Monsters in the Midway. Oh, my gosh, the 2000 Ravens, the No-Fly Zone, the Legion of Boom, and now the Dark Side defense. I mean, Mike McDonald. There we go. Mike McDonald. He didn't have a farm. He's building a championship team here in Seattle. But the Dark Side defense, they've just they haven't just dominated in the Super Bowl. They've dominated all throughout the season. I mean, yeah, they kind of gave away some points to Matt Stafford, but when the push came to shove, they always prevailed. They came out on top, and we'll be talking about this defense for quite some time.
Yeah, and there's several defenses that have been like that all throughout this playoffs when you're talking about. I mean, there was 3 or 4 really good defense. Denver's, Chargers, Houston's, of course, Seattle's probably the best on the NFC side, just overall. But I mean, just the defenses in these playoffs, every one of them could have gone into the Super Bowl and did what they did what Seattle did tonight. But their defense, I like I've said all year, steady hand. You didn't really see any huge mistakes out of this defense, and they were able to just capitalize and create opportunities for Sam Darnold to capitalize on it and get them to a championship. So we've gone 3 up. We're going to go 3 down. First up on the down list, Josh McDaniels. This game plan, the Patriots just seemed woefully unprepared for this game.
Is it just me, or is just time catching up with Josh McDaniels as well? Because I always liken him to this generation's Norv Turner. Good offensive coordinator, not so great of a head coach. But I felt New England's offense really got exposed tonight, particularly on their offensive line. You figured that they would respond to the pressure that Seattle brought by maybe moving a running back, or maybe even integrating a fullback and providing Drake May with some extra protection. So you can at least buy Drake some extra time to make some plays downfield and maybe open some things up. But, sometimes it's hubris. You've won so many Super Bowls as a coordinator. Well, maybe you're just like, you know what? Maybe they're not as tough as I thought. Or maybe maybe I'm overthinking them a little bit. And, it really came back to bite McDaniels right in the rear.
That's one thing we always see it with the Patriots offense. I know McDaniels is probably the mastermind of it, the best to execute it. He's been one of the best to consistently know how to drive that car. But one of those things with the Patriots offense is they very much are capable of tripping themselves up, or very much are capable of just trying to overcomplicate something or trying to stick to something that just is not working, or not necessarily adjusting the way that they need to adjust in order to fix a problem that is glaring right there in their face. And one of those things I felt like they really could have done, I didn't see a whole lot of 6 linemen in this game to help out that left side. I didn't really see a whole lot of help going to that left side. And they just, a lot of times, I think they just wanted to stick to their guns on some of that. And then there was times where they got too cute when they didn't need to. But it just looked like they could not handle that pass rush at all and were making no adjustments in order to help out their quarterback.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, we'll get to kind of our factory of sadness here shortly. Benefit of a doubt, you do have some rookie linemen. You do have a lot of youth on that offense. Do I think it's the last time we'll see the Patriots back to the big game in a while? No, I don't think so. Mike Vrabel does such a great job in cultivating a championship culture. He did that in Tennessee. They just didn't get to the big game. And with New England, no doubt that they'll be back, and who knows, maybe England will make a revenge tour of sorts. But yeah, in order to win Super Bowls, you have to make adjustments. You have to see things happen in real time. And it really seems like Josh McDaniels was not doing that. And just or maybe just the defense frustrated them too much, where they couldn't do anything because of that immense pressure brought on by that defensive line.
I felt like it was a lot of putting the ball in Drake May's hands. Not to say that they didn't want to lose faith in their quarterback or anything, but I felt it was a lot of putting the ball in Drake May's hands and not figuring out ways to get it. I know they tried to screen game a little bit, but not putting it into other playmakers' hands. Again, Stephon Diggs vanished. He was gone in this game. He barely registered any yards. I think I saw him maybe with 1-2 catches in this game. And they didn't really come until the end. So it was one of those, again, one of those head-scratching Patriots game plans that you saw that ended up costing them something big. Of course, next up on the down list, Drake May. And he fought. I'll give him this. He fought hard. But the same issues that plagued him against the better defenses in the AFC, on the AFC side of the bracket, plagued him in this game. And he made a lot of the same mistakes that he was making in those other playoff games.
I'm not going to sell Drake May short, though. He's young. This is only his second year. I feel like this Super Bowl loss is going to motivate him, but he's got to clean up the turnovers. 2 fumbles, 1 was a scoop and score, and then the third turnover was an interception. So, Drake's really got to look in the mirror and be like, okay, how can I clean this up? Do I need another playmaker? Do I need some more help on the line? What do I need to make myself not only survive in New England, but to thrive in New England and get back in the big game and redeem myself in the eyes of the NFL? Because when you lose a Super Bowl, you get that hangover. We've seen that with so many teams and so many players. Cam Newton's a really good one. 2002, the Jared Goff, the 2002 Raiders. Yeah, I know I'm dipping back in the memory banks for that one, but he just can't let that loss bother him. He's got to get over it, and I believe he will. Like I said multiple times on the show, if this is not going to be the last time we're going to see New England in the Super Bowl.
Well, and here's the interesting thing too. I mean, that this may be something that he gets to revisit early in the season, because if you take a look early next season, because if you take a look at Seattle's opponents, one of their home opponents, the New England Patriots. So you already know that Seattle's getting that first Thursday game to kick off the 2026 season. So it could be Seattle, New England to open up the year next year and run this back and see what Drake May really has made adjustments against this defense. Our final factory of sadness for the year has to go to rookie left tackle Will Campbell. 6 sacks allowed. I mean, they broke it down. He was getting backed up into Drake May this whole game, and Drake May just seemingly from the snap had nowhere to go.
Yeah, and that's just a testament to Seattle's defense. They were just so overwhelming. That's why New England couldn't really do much for most of the game. It wasn't only until like the game's dying moments where New England could move the ball, they could drop in some nice passes. But I mean, the game is won or lost inside the trenches, and unfortunately, Will Campbell was the casualty.
Yeah, and I was saying this kind of in our group chat, man. They may have to look at a replacement because it wasn't just the playoffs that he wasn't good. He wasn't good all year. Mm-hmm. And I chalk it up to him being a rookie, chalk it up to him being, young or whatever, but he was not good this entire playoff run, and he was a liability for the New England Patriots. Got some great people up here at R&R.
They were doing some dances off camera.
All right, well, we'll get to buy or sell here in a second. We're going to go get to one of our other sponsors. Yes. Guys, check out Macaulay Made if you want to get an awesome hat.
And buy Macaulay Made. Whether you're looking for a custom cap as the perfect gift or to represent your small business with a high-quality hat, Bobby Macaulay has you covered. Wear what Ryan and Andy wear. Wear something that's Macaulay Made, the official cap of the Extra Point.
Definitely go check out Macaulay Made for one of the caps. I'm wearing the black one tonight. Again, we want to get to 500 likes on Facebook. We want to get to 250 on YouTube, or 200 on YouTube. We want to get to 50 on Twitch. So go hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And once we get there, we are going to be giving out one of the hats to one of our subscribers as a thank you for helping us hit that mark. So continue to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Continue to let people know about the Extra Point, especially as we get into next season. Tyler's going to be back with us at certain points next season as well. Oh, yeah. So I'm excited for next season. I'm excited for our Super Bowl finale. Definitely. We finally get to pull off the finale, the on-location finale. I'm happy for it. I'm hoping you guys are enjoying it too. So now we get into our final buy or sell for this season. If you guys don't know how this works, we throw out a take. You buy or sell it. Let us know in the comments, and then we discuss it here. But first off, buy or sell Kirk Cousins going back to the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh, I'm selling this one. There's so many more better. I would say, Kirk Cousins has really kind of declined over the last few years. I feel bad for Kirk because he was well-liked in Minnesota the first time around. Can I see a redemption tour? No, not really. I think he's just if he comes in, he's going to be just brought in to push J.J. McCarthy. I think there's so many better options out there. Kyler Murray in the Viking purple and gold. I think that would make people in Minnesota very excited to see Kyler Murray in Minnesota. And I think a nice change of scenery and maybe like opportunities to have some pretty good playmakers around him would be very appealing. But, Kirk Cousins, I think he does better in the broadcast booth. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a natural. He's a natural in the broadcast booth. Yeah. And, these days they're handing out these $1 million, these huge contracts to these former football players. And, Cousins is already miles ahead of some of these other guys. So, Kirk, there's definitely a life after football.
Man. I think it's really going to depend on Kirk Cousins, but I know he wants to keep playing. The Falcons are going to cut him by the time I believe the league year starts, probably eat a ton of cap. Mm-hmm. find a way to clear the books. I think if he retires, it probably clears a lot of that off. I am going to buy this though, because I believe he still wants to play. He go back to a place that's going to have familiarity. It's a new GM, which that GM was kind of responsible for Kirk Cousins' exit from the Vikings. I think it's definitely a huge possibility for them to go for them to reunite. And I mean, I will say this, Kirk Cousins, I will take him over JJ McCarthy, because JJ McCarthy, to me, I know he was a first rounder. I know he was the guy you were looking at being the future for this team. I just don't feel like the NFL. I just don't feel like his game meshes well with the NFL. And on top of that, I just don't think he's durable enough to handle what is being thrown at him, especially in that division. I feel like Kirk Cousins back with the Vikings is probably going to be one of the big things that happens this offseason.
Yeah. I mean, all of those defenses in the NFC North, all really great defenses. So, for somebody like McCarthy to become a liability, that's scary for a team like the Vikings who want to win now. They want to eventually get to a Super Bowl. They want to finally win one after, about 60 plus years of existence. So, is McCarthy the answer? I don't know. However, there has to be someone there to push McCarthy to really not only meet his potential but exceed his potential.
Yeah. So I think it's someone that could go. This also came out, I believe today, but Aaron Rodgers mulling his future, saying he might be leaning towards a reunion with Mike McCarthy. Buy or sell, Aaron Rodgers might return in the black and gold for Pittsburgh. I'll take this one first. I'm buying it. This is totally an Aaron Rodgers move, is to come back, overstay his welcome, I guess. Wants to maybe try and run it back with Mike McCarthy, someone he's familiar with. But that's the thing, is I guess they don't remember the tension that was there when he left Green Bay. Don't remember the stories about how Aaron Rodgers just used to change McCarthy's plays on him in the game. I mean, I would guess they have smoothed that over. They've had conversations. I just don't know if Rodgers still physically has what it takes anymore.
Oh, man. Aaron Rodgers, just retire, man. There's so many times where you can go in the darkness chamber and realize, I can still play football. Please don't. You're going to make the Yinzers cry in pain and make Urinating Tree continue to create days of our Steelers. Just do the league a favor. I think you can maybe be a guru or something in the life after football, and teach about the greatness of the sense deprivation rooms or whatever. But I gotta sell this, because yes, like you said, there was previous tension between McCarthy and Rodgers in Green Bay. Imagine if the season goes downhill, because the Steelers have one of the older rosters in the league. And more expensive. What happens when the Steelers start off really rough? You're going to see Rodgers and McCarthy blow up on each other on the sideline. So, I mean, cut the losses. Hey, you acted like, your loss against the Texans was your last game. I think it's time for you to ride off in the sunset.
A lot of retirement talk going into the offseason. Another one on buy or sell. He kind of hinted that he was going to keep doing this year. Buy or sell, Travis Kelce should keep playing.
Oh, sell this. Get married to Taylor Swift. Just be your all-time bodyguard. That is so much of an easier job than continuing to play football. Because to play football, you got to be at the tip top of your game, not only mentally but physically, and then almost spiritually as well. You have to be all about football. And as much as the Swifties are out there and they love to have that dynamic of Taylor Swift up in the press box, watching her fiance play. Travis, just put the ring on the finger, go get married, have a bunch of kids, and then 20 years down the road, have all your kids be Hall of Famers, because you're going to be a Hall of Famer someday. You won enough. You've got enough big moments. You've won enough Super Bowls. You'll be a Hall of Famer. Just go have that storybook wedding with Taylor Swift.
I'm going to sell this too, and I'm looking at it just for the simple fact of the physical decline and the decline in his game. Travis Kelce was, well, and I don't know if this was a Matt Nagy thing. I just don't know if it was an age thing. Travis Kelce was a non-factor for the Chiefs this year. Like it was almost like an afterthought. Almost like, of course, you always got to be aware of Travis Kelce when you're playing the Chiefs. But I wasn't leaning as heavy on Travis Kelce and him being dangerous as you would in the past for the Chiefs. And I didn't hear his name as often in key moments for the Chiefs this season as I have in the past. So, yeah, I'm going to sell this. Travis Kelce, man, retire, go live a happy life. You've got plenty of rings. This point, you're probably guaranteed to be a Hall of Famer.
You got a hot wife, too. Spend time with her.
He said it, not me. Next up on Buy or Sell, this one came out today. Buy or Sell, Derek Carr returning. So Derek Carr left the door open for him to unretire, come back, says his shoulder probably looking good. But Derek Carr opening the door possibly for coming out of retirement. Buy or sell?
Ooh, I'll buy this one, but I like Tyler Shuck, though. I really like Tyler Shuck. Maybe Derek Carr will coming in, might challenge Shuck a little bit, maybe push Shuck to become an even better quarterback. I see a lot of potential in Shuck. Yeah. And if it's going to be one or the other, I mean, you went through all this trouble to draft Shuck, but you're going to bring Carr back. But I think Shuck wins the quarterback battle if Carr comes back.
I'll buy this. I think he could return, but I don't think he ends up playing with the Saints. I think if he returns, he's going to get traded. He's going to go somewhere else. I know the Saints have the rights to him, but if he returns, they're going to trade him because I do believe they think Tyler Shuck is the number one guy in New Orleans. He played really well down the stretch, had some really good games for New Orleans. A lot of people were saying even though you had Carolina and Tampa battling it out for the division crown, that the Saints were actually the best team in the division because of how well Tyler Shuck had played. He just didn't have enough around him. So I think I buy him returning, but if he does, he's going to end up on another team. So, well, we'll finish up tonight with the remaining extra point awards. We've given out all the awards, biggest trade, most improved, biggest declined. It's now time for our last three awards, the top three awards of the extra point. So first up on the final three extra point awards, Defensive Player of the Year. Who else could it be but Myles Garrett? Breaking the sack record this season, being the one unstoppable force for Cleveland. Although pairing him with Carson Schwarzenegger was really good too. But yeah, Myles Garrett, undoubtedly the Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh, by far. Myles Garrett had such a monumental year and proves that he's worth every cent in Cleveland. And I do feel like maybe you can build around Myles Garrett since he's locked in for the next few years with the Browns. So, while the offense needs a lot of help, you have that anchor for the defense. And if you can keep that defense intact, you can keep Myles Garrett happy. Cleveland can turn around a lot faster than you'd think. And could Myles Garrett continue to keep it up? I would say, yeah. He's like a fine wine. He keeps getting better. And until we start seeing the sharp decline in Garrett, he's going to be one of the most fiercest, defenders in the entire league. I don't see him slowing down yet.
Yeah, no, I think he's one of the most. He's still one of the most built players out there. I don't, knock on wood for him. I don't see him get injured a lot. But yeah, I think he's definitely going to be around for a while. Next up, Offensive Player of the Year. I know the official one went to Jackson Smith and Jigba. I look at things a little bit differently here on the extra point. Our Offensive Player of the Year, my Offensive Player of the Year, goes to James Cook, the leading rusher in the league. He came through huge career year for him. Was a big part of that Buffalo offense, taking a lot of the pressure off of Josh Allen. But James Cook, my Offensive Player of the Year for this year.
Goes to show that running backs still matter in the NFL. I mean, even with the fancy passing games, even with their air raid offense, even with pistols and shotguns and all sorts of firearms, the running game still matters. And I think James Cook couldn't have had as much success without a really good offensive line in front of him. He will probably tell you, it's all due to the guys in front of me and the guy next to me and Josh Allen. It just makes my job so much easier. But, well-deserved. James Cook was a force. He would punish defenses. He'd find holes. He'd find gaps. He would gain yardage, and he would open things up for Josh Allen. So, kudos to you, James Cook. Kudos to you.
R&R bar with the standing ovation for James Cook, by the way. Having a great time up here at R&R Bar live for the Extra Point season finale, Super Bowl season finale. Last one of the night. Top of the mountain MVP for the year. Who else, man? Who else but Matt Stafford? He won the MVP, the official MVP of the league. But man, what's weird is he wasn't. I don't think he was drafted in my league, or he was drafted and then cut. But I mean, Matt Stafford. We talked about a lot of consistency with Sam Darnold and the Seahawks this year. Matt Stafford equaled that level. And but he was I felt like he was a lot more explosive, although I thought he had a lot more weapons than I believe Sam Darnold did with Adams and Puka and McMillan and Corum and Kyron Williams. I feel like there was a lot of times he kind of had to make up for some of the deficiencies in the defense, but that's what made him valuable. Matt Stafford was just amazing this year. And to me, I felt like he was one of my picks to go get a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Matt Stafford, we knew he was really good when he was in Detroit. We knew the Rams would really get a bang for their buck with Stafford coming over to LA. This season was a statement. It just seems like when you think he's slowing down, he's really just putting on his best performances. I don't think the Rams are going to go away. I think right behind the Seahawks repeating, the Rams are going to be considered a contender right behind them. In their own division, they will probably have to play each other. Excuse me, I'm getting so excited. Probably another 3 times next year. And, again, probably for a trip for the Super Bowl. Matt Stafford is just, he has weapons. And if you have weapons, you have a good offensive line, you got some running backs next to you, man, you can make some magic happen. And Matt Stafford, he's been among the best even when he was a Detroit Lion. It's just now people are really starting to take notice because, well, lo and behold, he's on a great team.
And he did confirm that he is going to be back next year. Matt Stafford will be returning to the Rams, so he's going to be hunting that ring. But, yeah, Matt Stafford, the Extra Point, top of the mountain MVP for this season. Well, Tyler, that will do it for this season for the Extra Point. I'm happy to be here. We made it. We made it. I know we're saying so long to our old friend football season, but we will be back in August with the preseason previews. Obviously, we know who is going to be kind of the first preview, which would be Super Bowl winner, NFC West, AFC West. But like, share, and subscribe. We'll keep you, I'll pop in with some updates for the big things that are going to be happening this offseason, the draft, free agency, all that fun stuff that's going to be going as we head into the 2026 season. But we're wrapping it up in 2025. The Seattle Seahawks are your Super Bowl champions of Super Bowl 60. I mean, any final thoughts on this season?
Enjoy it, 12s. A lot of thoughts from this season. First of all, pleasure. Thank you so much for coming up to me at a Squared Circle Pro show and saying, "Hey, do you want to do do you want to hop on as a guest?" I'm never going to say no to talking about football. So, thank you so much for having me on, especially for the Super Bowl show. R&R Bar right behind us all the way. They're cheering the entire time. Also, this season, it really made me really get into football again. Usually I'm kind of casual. I'm like, okay, the Broncos are doing bad. Okay, cool. Broncos are doing good. Okay, cool. I feel like, by covering high school sports and college sports, it's like you get so removed from the professional game. And I feel like it just reignited like the little kid in me, because I always wanted to talk about professional football. And Ryan, again, thank you for allowing me to be that little kid again and talk about pro football.
Man, thank you for joining me. Thank you to Andy for, covering the first part of the season. Andy, I love you, man. I miss you. I can't wait to have you back on the show. Thank you to all of our great sponsors, Macaulay Made, Phone Medic of Amarillo, Amarillo Magic Company, Simple Health with Sarah, everyone that supported us this season, guys. Get the word out. The views on YouTube and stuff were great. Just watching some of the clips that we have kind of blow up, guys. Thank you again for another season and for watching me through this little pet project of mine. Guys, I can't wait to see you in August and go through another awesome season. Until then, guys, goodbye. Good night.